They thought they ruled the streets. But when the US Marines landed, their war turned into a death sentence. Cartels once felt untouchable across Mexico, armed to the teeth and fearless. But a different kind of enemy was waiting, one that didn't flinch, didn't negotiate, and never backed down. Mexico's most powerful cartels are no longer street gangs. They fight like small armies, using military-grade weapons and brutal tactics to control entire regions. Groups like the Sinaloa Cartel, the Zetas, and the Jalisco New Generation Cartel operate with on-caliber rifles, AR-15s, rocket-propelled grenades, and even makeshift armored vehicles. Their firepower often matches or overwhelms local police, and in some cases even the Mexican military. What makes them even more dangerous is how they use violence to send a message. Cartels regularly hang bodies from bridges, burn vehicles in the streets, and carry out public executions to intimidate anyone who stands in their way. They don't just want territory, they want control through fear. For years, these groups have acted as if they were untouchable, carving out zones of influence that stretch across Mexico and beyond. However, their confidence starts to crack when they face a different kind of opponent, the United States Marine Corps. In confrontations, the outcome shifts dramatically. Unlike local forces, U.S. Marines are highly trained, heavily equipped, and authorized to respond with deadly force. These factors create a severe imbalance, and the cartels often realize too late that their usual tactics no longer work. When cartels go up against the Marines, they lose quickly and often violently. Marines don't just respond to threats, they end them with precision and speed. Many cartel members, used to dealing with corrupt or under-equipped forces, are shocked by the discipline and power of an American military unit. These aren't drug cops or city police. They are elite combat soldiers, and the results are often one-sided when they move in. Cartels may be bold, but they are not suicidal. Stories from past engagements show that even hardened cartel fighters break ranks or flee when Marines enter the picture. Sometimes entire groups have abandoned safe houses or retreated from towns after hearing rumors of a U.S. military presence. For these criminals, going head-to-head with Marines is not just a bad move, it's a death sentence. Although cartels still operate freely in many areas, their fear of direct military confrontation has grown. Each time a Marine unit enters the fight, it reminds these groups that their weapons and terror tactics are useless against a force that doesn't hesitate, doesn't flinch, and never backs down. But what makes the Marines so effective in these clashes isn't just their weapons, their training, discipline, and the unique rules they fight under. The U.S. Marines are not just well-armed, they are built for combat at every level. Their strength in cartel operations comes from three core advantages: unmatched discipline, expert training, and the legal power to use deadly force when needed. These factors give Marines a clear edge over drug groups that rely on fear, surprise, and raw firepower. Every Marine goes through one of the toughest training programs in the world. From day one, they are pushed to handle high-pressure combat situations. Their training includes close-quarters fighting, ambush tactics, squad movements, and advanced marksmanship. These exercises are not just drills. They are designed to prepare Marines for the exact kind of urban warfare that cartels often create in Mexican cities. What sets Marines apart from local forces is their structure. They work as tight, disciplined units where each member plays a clear role. Marines operate with precision and follow strict command orders, even under fire. Unlike many police or soldiers in cartel zones who act alone or get overwhelmed, Marines function like a single machine, fast, efficient, and deadly. Another key difference is the rules they follow. While civilian law enforcement must often wait for threats to escalate, Marines can act when danger is confirmed. They do not need to negotiate or wait for backup when a target is hostile. This authority to respond instantly allows them to eliminate threats before situations spiral out of control. This rapid response capability can mean the difference between chaos and control in cartel strongholds. When a Marine squad enters a dangerous area, they move with a plan, not panic. They scan for threats, set perimeters, and strike with speed. Even heavily armed cartel gunmen are often caught off guard by how quickly a Marine unit can identify and neutralize them. The Marines' approach is built on decades of experience. Their operations are not random raids. Each move is based on solid intelligence and designed to minimize risk to civilians while removing hostile forces. Their goal is always to dominate the battlefield without hesitation or confusion. Cartel fighters, no matter how violent or proud, have rarely faced opponents like this. Most are used to confronting underpaid police or corrupt officials who hesitate under fire. But against Marines, hesitation is not an option, and weakness is punished instantly. The results were unforgettable when these disciplined warriors were sent into real cartel war zones. Some operations have already become legends in the fight against organized crime. The U.S. Marines have taken part in several joint operations against Mexican cartels, but two missions stand out for their speed, precision, and message to organized crime. These weren't just arrests. They were significant strikes that removed dangerous cartel leaders and exposed the limits of cartel power when facing an elite military force. The first mission occurred in 2008 near the U.S.-Mexico border in Nuevo Laredo. Intelligence had located a high-ranking Zetas commander protected by over 50 armed guards. The area was a known cartel stronghold where local police had little control. Mexican special forces requested assistance, and U.S. Marines stepped in with a clear plan. Backed by snipers, air support, and armored teams, they launched a coordinated raid on the compound. In just a few hours, 48 cartel members were either killed or captured. No Marine casualties were reported. The success of this operation shocked the criminal underworld and proved that cartel firepower could not stop a professional assault. The second major operation came in 2013, targeting a brutal enforcer known as El Chacal. He had built a reputation as one of the most feared cartel figures in southern Mexico, responsible for torturing and killing both rivals and civilians, including several American citizens. Dozens of fighters guarded his jungle hideout in Tabasco, but U.S. intelligence tracked him down. Working with DEA agents and Mexican forces, the Marines launched a nighttime helicopter raid. The firefight was short but intense. Cartel guards tried to defend the compound, but they were overwhelmed by the Marines' superior weapons and tactical coordination. El Lasca was killed in the final exchange. His compound was destroyed, and the operation was hailed as a critical blow to one of Mexico's most violent cartels. It also sent a clear message to others. The U.S. would not ignore attacks on its people, and the Marines would act if necessary. Security experts often study these two missions as examples of how direct military involvement, when properly planned, can achieve results that local forces cannot. The precision, speed, and force used by the Marines turned both battles into one-sided victories. More importantly, they showed cartel leaders that crossing specific lines, like harming U.S. citizens, would bring consequences beyond anything they had faced before. But success in these missions wasn't just about bravery. It also came from using the right tools. Cutting-edge technology that gave the Marines an unmatched advantage on the battlefield. The Marines didn't just win battles with training and courage, they dominated because of the technology they brought to the fight. In cartel territory, where chaos and surprise often give criminals the upper hand, U.S. forces used advanced systems to see first, strike first, and control every move on the ground. The uncrewed aerial vehicle, or drone, is one of their most essential tools. These systems allow Marines to monitor targets from miles away without being seen. Drones can scan compounds, track movement, and relay real-time footage to commanders. This means the Marines know what they're up against before a single boot touches the ground. Cartels, used to catching local forces off guard, lose the advantage when every step they take is watched from above. In addition to surveillance, precision-guided munitions allow Marines to strike without causing widespread damage. Unlike older weapons, which often hit the wrong targets, guided missiles and smart bombs will enable them to take out a single building or vehicle with incredible accuracy. This matters in cartel zones, where civilians are often nearby. By focusing only on the threat, Marines reduce the risk to innocent people while still delivering powerful hits to key cartel positions. Another key asset is digital command systems. These include satellite maps, encrypted radios, and real-time software that tracks units. When Marines operate in unfamiliar towns or dense forests, this technology helps them move quickly, stay connected, and adjust plans in seconds. Cartel gunmen might know the terrain, but they don't have the same level of coordination or intelligence. That gap often decides who wins the fight. Sniper teams, air support, and ground vehicles also play significant roles. Each group is part of a larger strategy that brings pressure from all sides. In operations like the 2008 Nuevo Laredo raid or the 2013 strike on El Chacal, Marines used air-to-ground communication to time their attacks perfectly. Cartel fighters, even with numbers on their side, were overwhelmed by the precision and speed of the Marine assault. Technology turns a difficult mission into a controlled operation. It removes the guesswork, limits mistakes, and puts Marines in control from start to finish. These tools don't just make them faster, they make them smarter and more lethal in every combat phase. Once the cartels understood what they were facing, many began to think twice. The presence of U.S. Marines alone became a reason to retreat before a single shot was fired. Once cartels realized what the U.S. Marines brought to the fight, many stopped trying to win and started trying to survive. The very presence of a Marine unit in an area often caused criminal groups to change their plans, abandon safe houses, or retreat without a fight. For organizations built on violence and power, this fear was a clear sign that the rules had changed. Cartel leaders, no matter how ruthless, are not foolish. They understand risk and know that Marines do not hesitate in combat. Marines arrive with superior weapons, tactical experience, and legal permission to respond with full force. This combination makes them far more dangerous than local security forces, who are often underpaid, poorly equipped, or corrupt. Unlike police, Marines cannot be bribed and never back down when threatened. In several cases, cartel operatives fled towns simply because of unconfirmed reports that Marines were in the area. Local intelligence from cities like Culiacan and Reynosa shows that known cartel hideouts were emptied overnight after sightings of American forces nearby. This reaction isn't just fear, it's a survival strategy. Cartel bosses know that engaging U.S. military units almost always ends in defeat or death. This shift in behavior marks a rare change in cartel operations. These groups usually rely on intimidation to control both enemies and civilians. They show no mercy to rival gangs, police officers, or even mayors. But when Marines are involved, that aggression fades. Some cartel commanders have reportedly ordered their fighters to avoid direct combat when facing elite foreign forces. The risk is too high. This deterrent effect is significant because it works before a single shot is fired. By forcing criminal groups to retreat, Marines reduce the need for urban combat, which can harm civilians and destroy infrastructure. Avoiding gun battles doesn't mean surrender. It means victory without bloodshed. For military planners, this psychological edge is as valuable as firepower. Still, fear alone won't win the war. While many cartel members run when Marines appear, others wait, regroup, or move operations elsewhere. But the fact remains, the Marines have shifted the balance. Cartel fighters now think twice before taking a stand, and that hesitation can save lives. Even with these tactical victories, many experts believe the real battle lies deeper, far beyond weapons and uniforms, and that's where the real challenge begins. While U.S. Marines have shown they can defeat cartel fighters in the field, many experts argue that military action alone won't end the drug war. The cartels exist not just because of weapons or workforce, but because of deeper issues that continue to fuel their power: poverty, corruption, and America's demand for illegal drugs. In many parts of Mexico, predominantly rural and southern regions, communities have few options for jobs or education. Young people growing up in these areas often see the cartels as the only way to escape poverty. These organizations offer money, protection, and status in places where the government fails to provide basic services. As long as economic conditions remain broken, cartels will find recruits to replace the ones lost in battle. Corruption is another major factor. Many local police departments, town officials, and even some military units have been caught working with cartel leaders. Bribes, threats, and family pressure make it hard to resist. When criminal networks can buy off the justice system, it becomes almost impossible to build lasting security. Even after successful Marine operations, another gang or returning members often fills the vacuum left behind. Perhaps the biggest challenge lies beyond Mexico's borders. The United States remains the largest consumer of illegal drugs in the world. Every year, cartels earn billions of dollars from selling fentanyl, cocaine, methamphetamine, and other substances to American users. The cartels will always have a reason to rebuild and expand without reducing this demand. No number of raids or arrests can stop an industry that remains profitable and well-funded. Some experts call this a Hydra effect. Cut off one head, and another grows back. Even high-profile operations that take down major cartel leaders often lead to internal power struggles that create more violence, not less. In some cases, new splinter groups form that are even more unpredictable and dangerous than the original. That's why many analysts believe long-term change must include more than firepower. It requires investment in communities, reform of local institutions, and stronger cross-border cooperation. Efforts to track cartel finances, stop weapons trafficking, and offer better alternatives for at-risk youth are all critical steps. Marines can strike fear into cartel leaders, but building peace takes much more. And while the Marines try to avoid harming civilians, their operations can still cause massive disruption, leaving entire cities locked down and families caught in the crossfire. When Marines are deployed to confront cartel violence, their missions are carefully planned to hit targets with precision. But no matter how skilled the operation, the impact on nearby civilians can be massive. Cities caught in the middle of a firefight often come to a complete stop. Streets empty, stores close, and families lock themselves indoors, waiting for the gunfire to end. In places like Culiacán and Nuevo Laredo, this kind of disruption has become all too familiar. During the 2023 raid to capture Ovidio Guzmán, the son of El Chapo, the city of Culiacán was shut down for nearly 2 days. Gunmen set up roadblocks, burned cars, and opened fire across neighborhoods. Even though the Marines and Mexican forces succeeded in their mission, thousands of residents were left trapped inside their homes with no access to work, school, or basic services. Events like these show that while military force can remove high-value targets, it often creates short-term chaos for ordinary people. Public transportation stops running, businesses lose income, and parents fear sending their children outside. For those living in cartel-controlled areas, the arrival of Marines means both relief and danger, a sign that help is coming, but also that violence may erupt at any moment. The fear is not only physical, but psychological. People in these communities learn to expect sudden violence and adapt their lives around it. Weddings are canceled, grocery trips are postponed, and neighborhoods go dark when fighting begins. In some cases, families are forced to flee entirely, joining the thousands already displaced by cartel wars. Even after the operation ends, recovery takes time. Shops damaged in crossfire must rebuild. Children miss days of school. Hospitals may struggle to treat victims. And for many, the trauma of hearing explosions or seeing armed men in the streets doesn't fade quickly. Local leaders often find themselves stuck between two pressures: supporting military action against cartels, while also trying to protect their citizens from its side effects. They may call for better communication or warning systems to help people prepare. But the truth remains. Once Marines enter the battlefield, they focus on the mission, not city logistics. This is why critics argue for more surgical operations and better coordination with civilian agencies. While Marines are highly disciplined and work to avoid unnecessary harm, urban combat carries risks that can't always be avoided. Even with these challenges, the Marines symbolize strength, standing between order and chaos in the fight against organized crime. In the face of chaos, the U.S. Marines remain a force built on discipline, honor, and commitment to the mission. Their role in cartel operations goes beyond winning battles. They represent that justice, backed by skill and strength, can still make a difference, even in regions long ruled by fear. Unlike many local forces, Marines cannot be bribed, threatened, or turned. Their actions are guided by strict rules, advanced training, and loyalty to the nation they serve. That makes them one of the few institutions cartels truly fear. Each time Marines enter a combat zone, they remind criminal groups that there are limits, and crossing those limits has consequences. The image of Marines advancing through cartel territory sends a message that can't be ignored. Their presence shifts power, even before a shot is fired. To many citizens living under the shadow of organized crime, they bring protection and hope that the grip of violence can be broken and order can return. Of course, no military force can fix the root causes of crime alone. But the Marines are crucial in pushing back the darkness, giving other agencies and communities the space to rebuild. Their mission is not just to defeat enemies, but to stand guard for those who cannot protect themselves. As long as the cartels continue to threaten lives, traffic drugs, and challenge authority, Marines will be ready to respond. And when they do, they carry more than weapons. They have a legacy of resilience and a clear warning to those who believe they are above the law. In a world where crime grows bold and borders grow blurred, the Marines remain a clear line between order and collapse, and never take a step back. The fight between U.S. Marines and Mexican cartels reveals a more profound truth about modern conflict. Cartels may have weapons, workforce, and fear on their side, but Marines bring discipline, precision, and a level of strength that criminals cannot match. Marines have shifted the balance of power on the battlefield through primary operations, advanced technology, and unmatched training. Yet this fight is not only about combat. Behind every mission lies a network of poverty, corruption, and drug demand that continues to feed cartel empires. Military force can win battles, but it takes long-term political solutions to win the war. Still, one fact is apparent. When the Marines are called in, they don't just confront crime, they send a message. A message that justice can be enforced, that fear has limits, and that even the most violent networks are not untouchable. As the struggle continues, the Marines stand firm, not just as warriors, but as symbols of what it means to protect, endure, and fight for something greater than fear.